With 56 aircraft in its mainline operations, Finnair's fleet isn't exactly huge. It's actually comparably sized to competition in the region like SAS Scandinavian Airlines and LOT Polish Airlines. However, when you consider the size of Finland's population, it makes the size of Finnair and its operations impressive. The carrier's collection of aircraft hasn't changed too much since our last Finnair fleet video in December 2022. Nonetheless, let's take a look at what has changed, along with an examination of other news affecting the carrier's operations. At a glance, the mainline fleet of Finnair is as follows, with data coming from planespotters.net in mid-December. 5 A319-100s, 10 A320-200s, 15 A321-200s, 8 A330-300s, and 18 A350-900s. In addition to this, there's the regional subsidiary of the Finnair Group, Norra Nordic Regional Airlines. This subsidiary, operating regional services for Finnair, has 12 ATR 72-500s, along with 12 Embraer E190s. So, what's changed with Finnair's fleet in the past 3 years? Well, not much if we're being completely honest. We can see that the carrier is down 1 A319-100, but up 1 A350-900. This means that aircraft quantity has stayed exactly the same. Digging into the data, we can see that the one retired A319-100 was registered Oscar Hotel Lima Victor Kilo and departed the fleet in February 2023. Appearing to be at the end of its lease period, the jet was stored in the United States for about a year before being broken up/scrapped in March 2024. The aircraft was 20.1 years old at the end of its life. And then for the new A350-900, it was delivered to the carrier on December 17, 2024, entering service a few days after. The jet, registered Oscar Hotel Lima Whiskey Tango, was delivered brand new from Toulouse. Finnair financed this acquisition with export credit support exceeding €100 million or $105 million, provided by the export credit agencies of Germany, France and the United Kingdom, according to a statement released by the Finnish airline. Citibank Europe arranged the financing of the aircraft. One other interesting development since our last video has to do with an arrangement between Finnair and fellow oneworld carrier Qantas. In late October 2023, the Australian airline leased 2 of Finnair's A330-300s to have additional capacity to meet post-pandemic travel demand. The initial Qantas announcement stated that the Finnair A330 aircraft would be operating selected Qantas flights between Sydney and Singapore from late October 2023 and all flights between Sydney and Bangkok from late March 2024. This arrangement would allow Qantas to free up its own aircraft and crew to boost flying elsewhere. For the first 2.5 years of this agreement, flights were to be operated by Finnair pilots and cabin crew, with customers continuing to receive Qantas's in-flight food and beverage service, amenities, in-flight entertainment, and baggage allowance. It was added that from late 2025, the 2 Finnair A330s would be dry leased, operating for up to 3 years with Qantas pilots and cabin crew. And so we can see that this arrangement between the 2 distant airlines is ongoing. As highlighted by Aerotime, the wet lease has been a win-win for both carriers. Finnair had surplus capacity in its long-haul fleet resulting from Russian airspace closures. At the same time, Australia's post-pandemic travel boom required more capacity at Qantas. The 2 specific Finnair A330s flying in the Asia-Pacific region appear to be the airframes registered Oscar Hotel Lima Tango Romeo and Lima Tango Uniform. Whilst flying for Qantas, the jets are respectively registered Victor Hotel Quebec Papa Kilo and Quebec Papa Lima. When it comes to Finnair's wide-body fleet of Airbus A330 and A350 aircraft, it was stated that by the end of 2023, all of the jets would be completely overhauled with new business class, premium economy and economy class cabins featuring, quote, the very best in Nordic design. David Kondo, Senior Manager, Customer Experience and Design Strategy at Finnair, in discussing cabin interior harmonization between the A330 and A350, was quoted as saying, That was certainly the challenge we had with our existing cabin configuration. The A330 and A350 are just worlds apart, both in terms of aesthetic and in terms of arrangement inside the cabin. So with this relaunch, we've taken the opportunity to really streamline and make them as consistent as possible. Finnair explains that it was an engineering challenge to bring the A330 and A350 wide-body fleet together, creating a consistent finish in the process. But on top of this, it was a challenge to develop a look and feel that worked across every aspect of the customer experience. To produce a quote-unquote unified finish, domestic brand Marimekko came in. A long-term Finnair collaborator, the Finnish company's new textiles found throughout each cabin, are stated to speak directly to the airline's wish for a high-class, deeply Nordic look. It appears that this cabin refit took longer than expected, as it was only in June 2024 that the upgrade was announced to be complete. Per a press release from the European plane maker, it was reported that Airbus worked as the integrator, providing the technical solution for Finnair's cabin modification, managed as a single project for the customer. This included provision of all the service bulletins or SBs, engineering drawings, the kits required for the complete cabin, and technical support during development of the solution at HAECO's MRO facilities in Hong Kong. The project included simultaneous development and certification of line-fit and retrofit solutions on the A350 and A330 aircraft families. The new business class in both aircraft families features the Air Lounge seat, created by Collins Aerospace. These seats are well known for their non-reclining nature, which still allow passengers to have a lie-flat bed by raising a panel between the seat and the leg rest to form one long surface to sleep on. We have a flight review video if you're interested in these seats. Airbus adds that the new premium economy class is based on the new Vector Premium seat, manufactured by HAECO Cabin Solutions, now part of Zim Aircraft Seating. The economy class for Finnair's A330s have been fitted with new seats, while the A350 economy class received new seat covers and an updated IFE. In addition, the main entrance to all cabin classes now features a new welcome entrance area, which includes a refreshment bar. In more recent and less positive news, it was reported in October 2025 that Finnair had to temporarily ground several aircraft from its Airbus A320 family fleet, including 8 Airbus A321-200s, due to a seat cleaning procedure gone wrong. Finnair discovered that some Airbus A321 seat covers, those which were sourced through a third-party supplier and underwent maintenance linked to the original manufacturer, had been washed with water in a way that would invalidate the cover's verified flame retardant performance. In order to respond to this issue, the airline replaced around 1,700 covers and leased backup aircraft. It was noted that the aircraft grounding and flight cancellations impacted around 70 flights while disrupting around 11,000 passengers. And so we can see that there hasn't been too much exciting news regarding the Finnair fleet, at least when it comes to changes in fleet composition and aircraft orders. However, the completion of a major wide-body retrofit should be celebrated and seems to be well received by travellers. But what are your thoughts on the Finnair fleet in 2025? Let us know by leaving a comment. In addition to our daily YouTube videos, Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles and a podcast every week. Visit simpleflying.com.